the firefighters got the call. A vehicle had hit a pedestrian. They raced to the scene, and there they found him. Officer Lewis impaled through the neck by a picket fence. His partner Harris was losing it. He pressed down on the wound with both hands, yelling, "Come on, he's dying." Herman told Harris, "You have to let go," so they could pack the wound. They covered Louis' face carefully and started cutting the fence around him, but Harris was breaking down. He shouted at them, "Why are you so slow?" Herman tried to calm him, but Harris lashed out, hitting Herman hard with his elbow. Lieutenant Casey didn't waste a second. He stepped in firm and sharp. "Take a walk. Let them do their job." A massive sinkhole suddenly appeared in the middle of the city. Surgeons from the hospital were rushed to the scene, but they weren't called to save lives. They were there to stop a man named Danny from possibly killing his own wife, Susanna. Before the sinkhole appeared, Danny had made a huge mistake. He forced Susanna out of the car during an argument, and right after that, the road collapsed. The car slid down and landed right on Susanna's legs. Now she was trapped and slipping into shock, but the sinkhole was too unstable. No one could go down to rescue her, which meant the amputation had to be done by Danny himself. When Danny heard he had to saw off his wife's legs, he completely froze.
No. Danny.
And just as that situation got intense, another emergency broke out. Alex noticed something strange. Jerry, another victim, had silly bands on his fingers. That could mean a child was nearby. So Alex went back to search Jerry's location, and he actually found something. A small hand sticking out from the dirt. He started digging frantically. Sure enough, there was a boy buried underneath, but he had turned blue from lack of oxygen. His body was crushed with multiple fractures, and he had compartment syndrome. The boy was on the brink of death, so Alex had no choice. He performed a fasciotomy right on the spot. He saved the boy's life, but back at the sinkhole, things were getting worse. Danny had tried several times. His wife's legs were already halfway cut, but he just couldn't keep going. The bone was the only part left, and Danny refused to finish the job.
I can't. No, I can't.
He was terrified that one wrong move would kill her, but what he didn't realize was that hesitating might be even more deadly. Owen had seen enough. Despite everyone telling him not to go, he climbed down anyway. He knew if no one acted fast, Susanna would die. And honestly, once you saw what came next, even the bravest people would hesitate. Owen successfully amputated both of Susanna's legs. That was the only way to save her life. They quickly lifted her out and rushed her back to the hospital for treatment. Candace was practicing gymnastics. Unexpectedly, a steel nail fell onto the balance beam, but because Candace was so focused, she didn't notice the danger beneath her feet and kept practicing as usual. Luckily, Candace had great reflexes. Every time she shifted her feet, she narrowly avoided the nail. She effortlessly dodged it and stuck the landing perfectly, just when it seemed she'd escaped unharmed. As Candace was about to take a break, a live wire ahead was sparking, and she had no idea. Just before she was about to get electrocuted, a teammate happened to hand her a towel at the last second. After wiping her face, Candace casually tossed it aside and it landed right over the exposed wire, miraculously averting disaster once again. A teammate suddenly stepped onto the balance beam, but unlike Candace, she wasn't as fortunate. After just a single flip, she landed squarely on the nail. The searing pain made her lose her balance, and she accidentally knocked over a container of chalk powder. As the fan blew, the chalk dispersed into the air, quickly clouding Candace's vision. Blinded, she lost her balance. Her head hit the ground hard. In the end, she couldn't escape danger after all. A patient had just died in the hospital, but instead of sadness, Dr. Bailey looked weirdly excited, and when she heard the man had just passed away, she got even more fired up. Without saying a word, she yanked off the white sheet and started doing CPR on the body. Dr. Karev was standing nearby, completely baffled. What was Bailey even doing? The guy was already gone, but Bailey didn't stop. She called for a crash cart, hooked up the monitors, and did everything she could to restart that heart. Here's why. Right after someone dies, the organs don't shut down immediately. They take a few minutes to fade, and this guy, he was an organ donor, and his liver was a perfect match for a dying patient upstairs. So Bailey wasn't trying to save the man. She was trying to save his liver, because that patient couldn't wait. She was running out of time, and to Bailey this felt like winning the lottery. Thankfully, after all the effort, they successfully preserved the donor's liver. But they still needed official approval from the Organ Procurement Center, so they waited and waited. Still, no word. Meanwhile, the transplant patient was crashing fast. There was no more time, so the doctors took a huge risk. They started the transplant anyway. If anything went wrong, the entire hospital could be in serious trouble. But guess what? The surgery went perfectly. The liver started working immediately, and everyone finally exhaled. The doctor slowly lifted the cloth on the old lady's leg, and boom! 2 flies flew out like they'd been trapped in there forever. But wait, when she peeled back the final layer of gauze, she froze. Dozens of maggots were still moving inside the wound. Turns out Marge was bitten by a bug 4 months ago and never told anyone. She just popped a few pills at home hoping it'd go away. No hospital, no doctor, nothing. It wasn't until her son Philip saw how bad it looked that he rushed her to the ER. But Marge? She hated hospitals. refused to let anyone even check her leg. She kept begging Philip to take her home, and then we found out the truth. Marge had been terrified of hospitals since she was a kid. Philip didn't know what to do. He even told the doctors, if it comes to it, just strap her down and give her a sedative. But that would only make things worse. She'd never come back to a hospital again. That's when Dr. Gray had a clever idea. She handed Marge a sleep mask and said, let's just pretend you're at a Halloween party. Surprisingly, it worked. Marge couldn't see anything, so her fear kind of disappeared. They got her into surgery. And the best part? Even after 4 months of infection, her thigh had barely any dead tissue. The surgery went smooth as butter. Marge made it. And maybe, just maybe, she won't be so afraid of doctors next time. A gas pipeline leaked in a quiet neighborhood. Flames shot into the sky like they were ready to swallow everything. But when Captain Beckett arrived at the scene, he completely ignored the source of the fire. Instead, he ordered his team to put out the flames near the homes first. But while the fire kept raging, the gas pipe was heating up. And if it burst, the results would be unthinkable. Sullivan asked for permission to shut off the main valve, but Beckett refused. He said, backup will handle it. Our priority is evacuation. But just moments after he said that, disaster struck. Up above, firefighter Vic was battling flames from a ladder. Suddenly, a power line snapped from the heat and struck her directly. She blacked out instantly from the shock, seeing the woman he secretly loved fall like that. Dean didn't even hesitate. He ran straight toward her, not knowing it would be the last thing he'd ever do. Meanwhile, Beckett finally realized his mistake. He gave the green light to attack the source of the fire. 2 hoses were released. A powerful wall of water surged forward, pushing back the fire like a force field. As they got closer, they noticed the gas valve was already melting from the heat, but thankfully, they made it in time. Working together, they stopped the biggest threat. The fire serpent was gone. Was it over? Not even close. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief, but no one noticed the spark still floating in the air. One single spark. That's all it took to change everything. And it landed on the unluckiest man of all, Dean. Just moments earlier, he had saved Vic's life, and Vic had finally confessed her feelings for him. But before he could even smile, he stepped on a hidden gas pocket. Dean had just discovered the house foundation was unstable. Gas was leaking inside. As he was reporting this to the captain, another teammate, following old orders, opened the door too early. At that exact moment, a spark dropped, and the explosion was massive. The shockwave launched firefighters several meters through the air. The fire zone turned into a war zone. When the team arrived, they were terrified by what they saw. Surprisingly, Captain Beckett survived, and the teammate who opened the door was hurt but stable. But Dean had no heartbeat when they found him. They rushed him into an ambulance. Everyone tried everything they could, but no matter how hard they fought, Dean didn't make it.